Okay, let's have a little look at the Toposolid command. So I've got my site analysis sitting here. I'll turn off the crop so we can see everything that's on. Show the crop so I can see where it all sits. And I need to bring the contours into the site. I've got an image here from Posi, I think this one is from. So before I drag this in, I'll rotate the view back to true north. Drag the contours in as an image, just coming in from another screen. Visible, not visible in view. There it is. Unhide. And I'll put the true north back to project north, so that should bring that in roughly to scale for us. Unfortunately, I've got all my images have come in now, so I'll have to element hide each one of those as I go along. I'll also do a hide on all the filled regions at this stage using a temporary hide category. I know they're temporarily turned off because of the blue border I have on screen at the moment. Should be clearing it all out for us at this stage. I might even set up a wireframe so I can see through all the roofs and everything. I'll bring the image across from about there to about here, and we'll do a scale graphical from here to about here and stretch it out to here. So getting that image in, scaling it, rotating it, getting it into the right place, and we've then got some contours there where we can create our little Toposolid. It's probably a little narrow, a bigger image, more contours would probably be handy. Leave that sitting like that. So I'll head off to the west elevation, proposed west, existing west elevation, and just have a little look at what I've got sitting here ready to start my streetscape views. And I just want to check what height. I've got a footpath level on this one. Actually renamed the proposed floor plan to footpath level because I drew all of my existing buildings on it, and then I added a new one and called it proposed footpath, and so that I can play with the footpath on the new floor plan of the new building up and down without affecting all the buildings in the neighbourhood. What we need for our Toposolid is another level, so I'll go create similar. It's always better to go for create similar rather than copy. Create similar, and I'll pop another one just down here. There's a couple of different ways I've been experimenting with doing with the this level. You can either do a AHD and drop this one right down to 0, drop it back to right down to sea level. It must be hidden in view. Right down to sea level. It'll create a solid topography or a solid Toposolid all the way from that point all the way up, so it's probably a little bit heavy. So what I'm thinking is maybe 210. 210 is going to sit below. I've got 215, so it'll make it 5 thick, and we can change that at any time, and I'll rename that to topographic. Return to the site analysis plan, and we'll go to the massing and site. So picking on the Toposolid, and before we go drawing our boundary in, just set your level to the topographic. And so when we plonk this in, the top of our Toposolid that we put in will be sitting at the topographic elevation line. So I draw a line and I'll just pick up a contour, a contour and a contour, just making sure that I can set up my corner heights. So drawing a shape around, making sure that that's there. Pop into the 3D and we can see that it's sitting there. You can see these buildings and trees and things are all floating over that, and the elevation will show that it's just sitting down here. Back to the site analysis plan, picking on that Toposolid, and I'll go modify sub-elements and we'll set up our corners. Now we can either pick on that here, and that's taking it from an internal origin. If you select it as a project base point and check what that height is, it's still going to be the same, but if we do all of our bases, all of our heights from the project base point, that'll keep a bit of consistency. So 215, that level, that line coming through there is 215 as well. That's actually 216 as it curls around. So we're talking about 1 metre of fall over the whole site here, so it's pretty flat land. We've got a 15.5 here. Could possibly go a little bit less if you want to be really fussy, but I think at this stage 215,500 and lock that one in. So pick on modify to finish, pop into the 3D to have a look. You can see the extra thickness now, and the buildings just breaching the side of that where it's up the hill a little bit. So that's a good start. We can then select that, go modify sub-elements, and this time when you pick on the add point, you need to make sure you're doing an absolute, because it automatically defaults to elevation from base, but we need to set it to absolute. That's the correct setting to put there when you're adding a fresh setting from scratch. And I know that I've got a couple of heights from this document. Pull that back. So I've got 215.21 at the centre of the site here, and 215.95 at that back corner. So I'll pop those in. 215.95, just drag that over. 215.950 over there, making sure I'm in absolute, and we'll pick on the base point here. And the one at the front is 215.21. 215.21, and I'll plonk that into the middle of that laneway area. And now I'm just going to create a nice flat. I'll put in some more points here. The 215s. Whoops. 215, 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to wander along the streetscape. Do a series of these points, just making sure that when I do my streetscape, it's going to have a nice flat line along the base when I do the streetscape. And I'll pop in a few 215 500s just to lift the gradual fall. So we've got a 215 500 here, so we'll go one there, one here, one here, one on the edge over here, and I'll pop some 216s in around there as well. 216, 216, 216, and I'll pop one over here too, just to keep that consistency. So that's plenty of points for what we need, and from here I'll probably look at the contours and adjust these points as I need to make the contours look right. Sometimes you need to sort of manipulate it all a little bit. So modify, go into the 3D and have a look just to make sure that it's sitting okay. We've got a contour sitting straight along the bottom of the street there, which is kind of what I've needed, so that when we do our elevation it should be sitting pretty flat along the bottom there. And the site analysis plan, if I take that element hide, just have a look at those contours. There's not many contours going on here, and I shall go to the contour display, edit, and I'll pull it back to maybe 200 millimeters. Actually a pretty flat side. I'll go 100 millimeter increments for the secondary contour lines. Maybe 200 is fine because that's quite a few, but it is on an A1 sheet, so I think that's probably okay. At the moment they're showing us solid lines. I don't want that. I'd prefer to have my object style come down to the topography, Toposolid. My secondary contours are solid lines, so we'll just pull those back to maybe a dash loose. Apply, have a look, make sure that that I'm happy with those. I'll leave the primary contour as a solid. 6 is probably a little heavy. I might pull that back to a 4. And I might even just back these off to being a dash loose grey for the secondary contours, so they're a little less heavy than what they were. Put some contours in which I can get ready to label. I'll bring everything back in, reset temporary hide the crop view, so get all the settings back to where it was. And we've got wireframe happening as well, so we change that back to a hidden line, and we've got our contours running along over our site now, where we can go to label contours. Wherever you see a contour line that we haven't got a handle on anywhere else, then we can get a label on it here. And yeah, so that's pretty much that. We'll pick that one up to 2 decimal points. Rounding it off to the nearest meter is a little bit too coarse. If we could go to here, 2 decimal places, pick OK and OK, and load into project. Override the existing, so it just takes it to 2 decimal points. So yeah, contours, and the topographic can be hidden out of this. Once we hide the crop view, that can come up and hide, and then when we're ready to start designing and putting our building together, we can have a I've got a topography sitting underneath that can be there. Again, if we want to make this a bigger area, then probably need a bigger contour image that we can get off the web to plot that Toposolid onto. Returning back to the site analysis plan, and you can see the edge of the Toposolid just wrapping around here. And Toposolids respond like any object in Revit now, where if you want to hide a line from the Modify tab, use the line work, invisible lines, and we can follow around the edge of the Toposolid and hide any lines that we don't wish to see in there.